Welcome to Data Analysis with Python for Beginners. My name is Vincent Hope. I'm going to be your instructor for this lesson. So quickly, we're going to learn what does it take to do data analysis with Python. Now, today in this lesson, lesson 1, we're going to do basic introduction, and we are also going to do basic math operations in Python. So let's jump right into it. Now, the first thing we need to know is what is data analytics. Data analytics is the process of analyzing data extracted from different sources using various analytic tools in order to gain insights that can help to improve the overall performance of a business or organization. So that is the whole goal of data analysis, to be able to analyze a set of data provided by a company in order to gain insights. For example, what's happening, why is there an increase in sales in one product and a decrease in sales in another product? Through data analytics, you can find out what the issues are and help to improve the performance of the weak product. Now, data analysis involves inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, suggestions, conclusions, and supporting decision making. So when you are doing data analysis, what are you going to be doing with data? You're going to be inspecting the data, cleaning the data, transforming the data, and modeling the data with the objective of gaining useful information, suggestions, and conclusions. Now, in this course, we are going to use Python. What is Python? Python is a high-level general-purpose programming language used for software development, web development, and data science. When we're talking about data analytics, we're talking about data science. Now, the basic Python language, as what's called the basic Python language, does not have structures and functions required for data analytics. But the beauty of Python is that it supports an extensive selection of add-on packages that can handle data analysis. That is why it's one of the most commonly used package or software for data analysis. Now, there are several versions of Python, but the one currently in use now is version 3.7, but the older versions down to 2.7 are still being supported. Now, let's quickly check Google and see what we're talking about. So this is Google. Let's talk about versions of Python. I click it. Now it comes up. So you see that let's scroll down a bit. If you scroll down here, okay, so it says version 2.7 still supported. So supported source releases. Okay, let's look for, it says how many versions of Python are there. Let's go down there. You see now you have version 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, 3.10. Now, if you want to know more of it, let's click 27 more on this option here. Now, okay, if we scroll down, this is actually one of the person who found Python. Now, Gudeo van Rossum in 2014, but let's go further. What we're looking at is the current versions being supported now. Okay, so let's scroll down. So these are the versions, the latest micro version, the release date, and the end of support for each of the versions. So let's just go down. You see that now 2.7 is what we just saw. It's still being supported to 2020. Okay, it's no longer in vogue now. Okay, so these are all the versions that are available: 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.5 to 3.7. 3.7 is still being supported. Now, these other versions, you can see if you check the internet, you can still find them. So from 3.7, 3.6, 3.5, you can even get 3.8, 3.9, but 3.7, 3.6, 3.5 are still okay for this program. So now let's go back and go back to our Microsoft Word. Now, to work with Python, you need Python code editors. Code editor is where you work with the Python code. Like Visual Studio Code is one of the code editor, Jupyter Notebook, Notepad++, etc. However, we'll be using the online Kaggle Python notebook environment. There's an environment online so that you can always access your files. We're going to use it for this training so that to make your training easy so that anywhere you are, you can access this Kaggle environment. Now, as a new user, you will have to sign up using your Google account. So let's go to Kaggle. Let's go to Kaggle. Let's go to Google back. Let me reduce this and bring it within the recording screen. Okay, sorry. I'll bring it back. I bring it, okay. Now let's go to Kaggle. So type Kaggle. See it here, Kaggle. Click on it. Now, you see the Kaggle, your machine learning and data science community. Now, I already have an account. So if you don't have, you still click the same thing, click sign in. If I click sign in now, signing in. Now, this is my name, welcome Vincent Hope. So this is Kaggle. So by the time you finish signing in, it will bring you to this environment. You see your left pane here. Now, this is your dashboard. When you click your home, this is your dashboard. So you have data sets. If you have uploaded a set of data, these are your notebooks that you are going to be using. You are not entered, no competition here. So let's focus on the notebooks here. Now, if I click on the notebooks, for example, if I click, okay, for example, I want to create a new notebook. Let me leave this now. I come to create a new notebook. I come to this point, click create. Now you can create a new notebook, data set, new model, and the rest. But let's focus on the notebook. I click new notebook. If I click new notebook, for example, now it allows me to enter a name here. So if I click here, I can call this, I remove this, I can call it notebook. That's notebook 3, for example. Now you don't have to click save, just click outside this environment. Now it is saved as notebook 3. Now you see it tells you that this is Python 3 environment. Comes with many helpful analytics libraries, which we're going to talk about later. Now it is defined by the Kaggle Python Docker image, blah blah blah, and so many other things. Now let's go through the menu quickly. We don't have to know more, but this is file. If you want to create a new notebook, you want to import a notebook, you want to download a notebook, you come to this point. You want to edit, you want to move your cell up, which we'll talk about, cell down, delete cell, we'll talk about that. You want to, let's come to the run. You want to run your current cell. You want to run all cells. You will understand this as we make progress. And these other options, we'll look at them later. Now, what is important here right now is to understand the Kaggle environment. This is a notebook. A notebook allows you to do two things. It allows you to enter a code. If I click this now, you see a small window comes out where I can type a code. For example, I say 3 + 3. And I click this button here, which means execute. Okay. Let me scroll down more. Okay, it's executing. Let's watch it. Okay, you see the answer here is 6. So this is the code cell. I also have the markdown cell. Markdown is for entering text. If I click on markdown here, now I can type just getting started. Okay. Then this one, I don't have to do anything much. Just I can bold it if I want to. Bold, it makes it bigger. I can interlink this. I can use any of this menu, and I just click outside here. Okay, I'll just click markdown. Sorry. Now you see it's reading here. So these are the major things you need to note: the code and the markdown. Now let me come back to my dashboard. I click my dashboard and I come back to home. Now let's watch that. It said changes made will not be saved because you are still. Do you want to leave? No, I don't want to leave. So I click save. I click OK. Now let me come. I'm back on home here. Now if I come on my notebooks, if I click on this notebooks here, okay, and I scroll down, now you can see I have, this is the notebook 3 I just created. This is notebook 2. I also have one lesson, which is the lesson we are going to use for this lesson. So this is just a simple run of how to use the Kaggle Python environment. Now let's go further. Now we are going to, we have done the introduction quickly, so let's go to basic math operations so that we get our hands rolling in Python. So we're going to learn how to use, because before we do data analysis, you have to know some basic things about Python. So you're going to learn how to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponentiation, brackets, modulus, math, and how to get math functions. So let's go back to Kaggle. Now, for the purpose of this lesson, I've already done it so it can be easy and fast. So we click on lesson 1 here. We click on lesson 1, now it's loading. Okay, so it's lesson 1 loading. So if I come down here, now you can see now. So the first thing we're going to do is addition. So this is addition. I've used my markdown to put addition here. Now this is the code. 10 plus 6 is 16. If I decide to change it and say 10 plus 8 and I click run, you see now it is 18. So the code, the plus sign is used for addition. Now the same thing with the minus sign. 9 minus 6 is 3. If you put it 9 minus 4 and you run it, you see it's 5. So then we come down to multiplication. Now multiplication, you use the asterisk sign. So 10 times 5 is 50. If I say 10 times, remove 5, I put 8 and I run it, I have 80. Now I scroll down. Let me scroll down so I can bring more up. You have division. Now division, to use the division sign is the slash sign. So 10 divided by 3, you see that it gives 3.33333. If I say 10 divided by 2, I click the execute cell, you see it's 5. So that is how you run it. Now, if you want to round up your divisions without having so many decimals, you use the double slash. Use the double slash to round up numbers. So this is the double slash. So if I said 10 divided by 3 here, if I remove the slash, remember, and I execute, it gives me 3.333. But if I put a double slash here and I execute, I run it, it just gives me 3. Now, the next one is exponentiation. Exponentiation, that's raised to the power. Exponentiation or raised to the power. So 10 raised to the power 5 times is 10 with 1 with 5 zeros. This is 100,000. If I say, okay, let's use a simple one. Let's say 2 raised to power 2. I think everybody knows that. You click this, you see now it is 4. 2 raised to power 2 is 4. Now, so we make progress. Now math expressions in Python follow the same math rules as the BEDMAS principle in mathematics, which is the bracket. Starting anything you want to exist in maths, you start with the bracket, followed by the exponentiation. then the division, then the multiplication, then the addition, then the subtraction. So you need to know that. We'll use some examples. Then secondly, Python codes that start with the hashtag, what we call hashtag, are just comments to describe the code you are that and are not executed. So anything you put a hashtag in front, it will not be executed. For example, this hashtag, this is the code execution cell, but because of the hashtag, the code below is executed in the reverse order. It's just telling us what to do, making a comment. Now let's observe this very well, watching how the bandmass rule works. We have 5 plus 5 times 2 raised to power 3. Now in the bandmass rule, it says the exponential comes before the division and the multiplication. So this cell will include execute 2 raised to power 3, which is 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 times 2, which is 8. 8 now times 5, which is 40. Now 40 plus 5 will give you 45. Now, if I change this, for example, I say 2 raised to power 2, and I execute it. Now you see that's changed to 25. So how did we get 25? It's 2 raised times 2 raised to is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 5 is 25. Now, you will see a difference when we make progress now. If we make progress now, this time the addition comes first, then the multiplication and explanation. Why? Because we have added the bracket. In the bandmass rule, as we said before, what comes first is the bracket. So it obeys that law. It executes what is in the bracket before it goes to the explanation. So what's in the bracket now is 5 plus 5 is what? 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 raised to power 3 is 8,000. Now let's do some changes here. Let's say 2 here. 2 times 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. Or let's use something simple so we don't. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 raised to the power of 3. Let's see what it gives to us. It is 512. So you see, almost the same thing up, okay? Almost the same thing, but it executed differently. Okay, now let's make progress. Now we have the modulus operator. Modulus operator gives you the remainder. So if you have the remainder, so if you say 50 divided by 8, 8 times 6 is 48, the remainder is 2. Let's take another number. Let's take 6, or let's take what do we take? Let's take 7, and we click. So the remainder as well. 7 times 7 is 49. If you take 49 from 50, it is remaining 1. That's how the modulus operator works. Now let's make progress. Now we have, to use arithmetic or math functions, you have to import the library. This library is important. Import a library or module, a set of libraries that can allow Python to function and work on them. Now in this code here, we said import math. By the time you're going to be doing data analytics, you're going to be using this code a lot, imports. Now it depends on what you are importing. So now you are importing the maths module. It says it loads the maths module or library. Now when you say import maths, by the time we come to the next one, now we can now begin to use that maths module. We can say maths.log10 is 2.3 dash that code. If we say change the value now to 5 and we'll execute it, okay, it gives us an error. Let's put some to, let's say 50. Execute it. Okay, why is it giving us an error? Okay, let's go to 20 and see. Execute. Okay, let's take the 10 we used before. Execute. The raised by, okay. So I think, let me check whether the network, where we're still on the network. Okay, we're still on the network. It says name maths.com is not defined. Okay, let's check what the error is. Let's go back because we imported maths. Okay, I check this code before we run it. Okay, let me execute this. Okay, I've executed this. Let me come back here, execute it. Okay, yes, so I did not execute this, so I can go back, run my maths log of 20, run it. Okay, now it's not functioning well because this one wasn't executed. I go back to the 50 we took initially, execute it, fine, it's now working properly. So every line has to be executed because this was not imported into the library. That is why it did not recognize it. Now we also have another function here, matlog 100, 100, 10. So let's find the logarithm of 10 in 100 is 2.0. If you change this here to 1000, you run it, it's 2.9, which is supposed to be 3. If you make this one 4, you run it, you see it's 4. So the log of 10 in this is 4. So let's come down. Okay, now we have math.exponentiation, exponents of 10 is 2 point this. If you the math log of 5, you run it, you see what it gives to you. Now to get a square root, all this math is functioning because the math module has been imported. So math.square root, you see where, because when we did not execute it, it was giving us errors. So math.square root of 36 is 6.0. If you say of 9 times 9 is 81, let's say 81 for example, and you click it, you see it gives us 9. So that's how it works. So here this one is absolute value. You don't need to put the math dots. So absolute value of minus any number is the number itself. So if you say minus 5 and you execute it, it will give you 5. Then we know the standard the standard value for pi in maths is 3.14. So math.pi generates 3.14 blah blah blah, but you take the first 3.14 in maths. Then you can also round up a figure. Now if you round up a figure of 5.7 and you click and you execute it, it becomes 6. So if this is let's say this is 5.18, you round it up, you see it's 5 because it's not up to 5 here. So if I put it 5.5 here, like in our basic math, it still comes back to 6. Now the final one, you can round up using from the same math function, round up 5.71 by 1 decimal. Now, before it was 5.7, yes, by 1 decimal. By the time you execute it, if we remove, let's say we put 790, since it's 1 decimal, I still execute it, it's 5.8. If I make it by 2 decimal and I execute it, you see it's 5.79. So these are the basic math operations in Python. I hope you have learned and understood it. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop your comments.